Are you enjoying the game today, too?
We always start with that question, but man, for today's topic, I feel like the answer is a solid no. Or maybe a yes mixed with, intense frustration.
Oh, I can feel my blood pressure rising just thinking about it.
Same here.
We are diving into a game that honestly defined childhood trauma for an entire generation. We are talking about the legendarily fragile, the completely unforgiving Spelunker.
Spelunker. Just hearing the name triggers this very specific Pavlovian response in my brain. I immediately hear that descending whistle sound effect.
Right, and then the crash.
Exactly, the crash.
And then the game plays that super triumphant, upbeat music right after you die. It is just completely mocking you.
It really is.
They call it Spelunker, but honestly, given how often the main character just goes splat against the floor, they really should have called it Splunker.
Splunker! Oh man, that is painfully accurate. I mean, for a lot of kids playing this back in the day, it wasn't just a game. It was this really harsh lesson in the fragility of life. Or, well, the fragility of pixelated cave explorers anyway.
It was a lesson in anger management is what it was. But that's our mission for today's deep dive. We need to figure out, is Spelunker actually a bad game, like a trash game? Or is it actually a misunderstood masterpiece?
It's a debate that has raged among retro gamers for a long time. So let's grab our backpacks, check our oxygen supplies, and descend into the caves.
And try not to trip over our own shoelaces and die on the way down. So let's actually set the scene here. What exactly are we looking at?
Right, so Spelunker is an action platformer. It was originally created by Tim Martin and Micrographic Image in the US for home computers like the Atari and Commodore 64.
Okay, so it started overseas.
Yeah, but the version most people know, the one that became an absolute legend, is the version ported to the Famicom and home consoles by Irem.
Irem. Now that brings back memories. I remember the cartridge itself having this little red LED light on the front of it.
Yes, that was a really unique feature for their games at the time.
I always thought it was a warning light. Like, danger, you are about to cry. Or maybe hazardous material inside. But apparently there was a practical reason for it?
There was. The developers actually mentioned that kids kept pulling the cartridges out of the console while the power was still on.
Ah, the classic yank. I might have done that a few times in frustration.
Exactly. And doing that could damage the save data or the game chips.
Yeah.
So they put that red LED there to essentially say, hey, the power is on, don't touch. It was a safety feature.
Which is deeply ironic considering there's absolutely zero safety for the character inside the game. Let's talk about this hero.
The unnamed explorer.
Right, he looks the part. He's got the hard hat, he's got the big backpack. He looks completely prepared to conquer the underground.
Visually, sure.
But physically, the urban legend is that he is weaker than tofu, or weaker than an eggshell.
He is widely known as the weakest hero in history.
Tell us about the story here. What is this guy actually trying to do? Because based on my gameplay as a kid, his main goals seem to be finding new and exciting ways to die.
Well, believe it or not, there is a grand objective. Our hero is exploring a massive, legendary cave system, and it's said to contain this colossal treasure at the very bottom.
Is it just one big repetitive cave, though?
Actually, no. It's one massive continuous map, but it is divided into very distinct environments.
Oh, right, you start at the elevator.
Exactly. The elevator section is very mechanical and industrial, and then you descend into the ropes section.
The ropes.
Which is all about extreme precision jumping. Then you hit the falls, which has water and slippery surfaces.
Slippery surfaces in a game where you die from stubbing your toe. Fantastic.
And if you make it past all that, you reach the pyramid deep underground.
The pyramid, I'm going to be honest, I never saw the pyramid as a kid. I barely saw the bottom of the first elevator.
It's a seriously long journey. The story is really just man versus nature. He has to navigate this hostile environment, collect keys to open doors, manage his resources, and just go deeper and deeper.
But the cave hates him.
Yeah.
Everything in there wants him dead. We have to talk about the enemies, like the bats.
Ah, yes, the bats. They fly overhead, and they have a very specific attack method.
They poop on you.
They drop guano. Yes.
It is the ultimate indignity. You are this brave explorer, and you die because a bat dropped poop on your head. One hit, and you're dead.
And then there are the ghosts.
Music changes. It gets all spooky and dissonant.
The ghost appears randomly, which adds this horror element, this unpredictability to every single run. It drifts toward you, passing straight through walls, and you have to deal with it fast.
And dealing with it is stressful. You have this phantom blaster to shoot the ghost, but using it is a massive risk, right?
It ties into the game's core systems. You have an energy gauge at the top of the screen.
That's the air supply.
Basically, It acts as a strict time limit, it constantly depletes, and if it hits 0, you die. Now, here's the catch. If you use your Phantom Blaster to kill a ghost, it uses a huge chunk of that energy.
So defending yourself actually kills you faster.
In a way, yes. It forces you to balance immediate safety against your long-term time limit, and to make it even harder, the blaster is invisible.
That drove me crazy. You can't see the bullet at all?
You just have to guess the range. You have to learn the timing and the distance entirely by feel.
And then you have the flash for the bats.
Right, which blinds them and clears the screen. Very useful item.
And the dynamite, which is my personal favorite way to end a run accidentally.
Ah, the classic self-destruction.
The blast radius on that dynamite is huge. I can't tell you how many times I planted dynamite to clear a rock, turned around to run, didn't run far enough, and just boom, I blew myself up.
It really emphasizes that the environment itself is the danger. You have pits, steam vents, geysers, but the biggest enemy, the true final boss of Spelunker, is gravity.
Gravity is a cruel mistress in this game. But before we get into the brutal physics, I want to ask about the versions. You mentioned the original computer versions in the US. Was the hero always this pathetic?
This is a really fascinating point. In the original overseas computer versions on the Atari and Commodore 64, the hero wasn't quite this fragile.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he could survive small falls. He was much sturdier.
So you're telling me the Japanese console version was intentionally made brutal? Did the developers just decide to make children cry?
Not exactly out of malice. It was a deliberate design choice by Irem. In interviews, the developers explained the situation with the rental market back then.
Ah, renting games. The good old days.
Right. They knew that if a game was too easy, kids would just rent it, beat it in a single weekend, and return it. They wouldn't buy it. So to ensure players felt a real sense of accomplishment and to make sure the game took a long time to beat, they intentionally increased the difficulty.
Accomplishment, is that what we're calling it? Because I called it throwing my controller at the cat.
It's the philosophy of death as a teacher.
Huh.
Which, oddly enough, makes Spelunker a direct grandfather to modern Souls-like games.
Okay, let's unpack that because that is a bold claim. You're saying this retro pixel game is the ancestor of those ultra-hard modern RPGs.
Think about the core loop. You die repeatedly. You have to learn the exact placement of every enemy. You have to meticulously manage your resources. And when you finally overcome a hurdle, the satisfaction is immense.
I guess I see what you're saying, but let's look at why people rage quit. We have to talk about the problems.
Yeah.
Specifically, the jump physics.
The jump is, let's call it committed.
It's fixed. In other platformers, you jump, and you can kind of steer in midair. You can correct your landing. In Spelunker, once you press that button, you are locked in. You are on a fixed trajectory, and you cannot change your mind.
You have to calculate the entire parabola before you leap.
And then there is the fall height. This is the thing everyone screams about. You die if you fall off a ledge that is barely the height of your own knees.
We actually have the technical data on this. The character sprite is 16 dots tall. The programming dictates that if he falls 14 dots or more, he dies.
He dies from a fall shorter than his own height. That is absurd. That is like me stepping off a street curb and expiring instantly.
It implies he is incredibly heavy, or perhaps his knees are made of antique glass. But the most notorious difficulty spike has to be the rope jump.
Oh, please don't get me started on the ropes.
The timing required to jump from a rope to a ledge is pixel perfect. If you are one single pixel off, you miss the ledge, you fall. And because you fell more than 14 dots.
Dead. And you get that game over screen. The picture of the hero's helmet just sitting there on the ground. It's haunting. It's like a memorial service every 3 minutes.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Is this bad design? Or is it just strict design? Let's dive into the evaluation because there are actually a lot of incredible points here.
At the time, I thought it was just broken. I really did.
Many did. But if you play for about 30 minutes, if you push past that initial rage, you start to realize something. The controls are actually incredibly responsive.
Responsive? I
Yeah.
don't know if I'd use that word.
I mean it. They do exactly what you tell them to do. They just don't forgive you if you tell them to do the wrong thing. It's a game about prudence. You cannot rush. You have to check your spacing. You have to respect the cave.
Okay, so it's a rhythm thing.
Exactly. And once you get into that rhythm, there is a weird, almost meditative flow to it. And the music helps massively.
Oh, the music is fantastic.
The main theme is surprisingly catchy and heroic. It contrasts so brilliantly with the weakness of the character. You have this sweeping, adventurous score while your guy is tripping over pebbles. But that music pushes you forward.
And there's hidden depth too, right? It's not just holding right and going down.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the highest evaluation points of the game design. There are hidden items everywhere. If you use dynamite on certain walls, you can find hidden diamonds. There are invisible items you have to jump in empty space to reveal.
The miracle item.
Yes, the miracle is a rare item that gives you an extra life, a 1 UP. And let me tell you, finding Miracle feels amazing because you know for a fact you are going to need that extra life in about 30 seconds.
So there's actually a lot of exploration and discovery if you're patient enough to look for it. There's also that thing with the score. Does the score matter?
Not really for standard gameplay. You don't get extra lives just for scoring points in the normal way, but for high-score chasers, it's everything. There are people who play this game for the no-miss, clear beating the entire game without dying once.
Those people are wizards. I refuse to believe they are human. They must have robotic hands.
It just takes memorizing every single bat dropping and steam vent. But that satisfaction when you clear a level after dying 50 times, it gives a massive dopamine rush. That is why so many consider it a masterpiece of its era.
So we have a game that is brutally hard, weirdly precise, but also kind of addictive. What happened next? Because the Spelunker name didn't just die in that game.
No, it spawned a franchise. But the sequels are, well, they're confusing.
Classic video game logic. Tell us about the sequels.
So first you have the arcade sequel called Spelunker 2, 23 Keys.
23 Keys, okay.
That was a totally different game. You're skateboarding, you're underwater diving. It's wild.
Skateboarding in a cave.
It was the 80s, I guess. Skateboards were mandatory by law. But then, on the home console, you had a completely different sequel called Spelunker 2 Heroes Challenge.
Wait, so there are two different games, both called Spelunker 2?
Yes. And Heroes Challenge on the console was an action RPG. It had an inventory, magic, exploration, dialogue choices. It was a totally different genre from the first game.
That sounds super ambitious.
It was. But for a long time after that, the series kind of went dormant. The Spelunker brand became more of a joke or a meme than an active franchise.
Until recently, right? I heard about a modern revival.
Right. A company called Tozai Games acquired the rights. They realized that there was a massive cult following for this weakest hero, so they released games like Spelunker World and Spelunker Party.
And did they keep the brutal difficulty? Or did they wrap the hero in bubble wrap?
They kept the spirit of it, but they added something absolutely crucial: rope assist.
Rope assist.
They knew. They knew that the original rope jumping mechanic was just too cruel for modern humans, so they added a feature where you don't slip off the rope quite as easily.
That is literally the developers admitting, okay, yeah, maybe we went a little too far back in the day.
It's an act of pure mercy.
Now, before we wrap up, we have to talk about the trivia and cultural impact. Because Spelunker isn't just a game title anymore. It's a slang term.
It is. First of all, just the definition of the word. A spelunker implies an amateur cave explorer, someone reckless. A pro is called a caver. So the title perfectly matches this reckless hero who dies constantly.
And in Japan, this term actually crossed over into real-world sports.
Yes. This is my favorite fact.
Yeah.
In Japanese baseball, if a player is prone to injury, they pull a hamstring just running to first base, or they hurt their shoulder from a high five, fans will nickname them a spelunker.
That is savage. Oh, he pulled a spelunker. That's amazing.
There was even a manga called Spelunker Sensei. It's about a school teacher who is super athletic but dies from minor bumps and scrapes.
I need to read that. That sounds like a documentary of my gameplay sessions.
It shows just how deeply this game embedded itself in the culture. It went from being a frustrating game to a shared cultural touchstone. Everyone knows the pain of Spelunker. The main theme was even used as a cheer song for a real Japanese baseball player.
It's like a secret handshake. If you know, you know.
Precisely. And I think that answers our original question. Is it trash or is it a masterpiece?
What's your final verdict?
I genuinely think it's a masterpiece of tension. It teaches you to pay attention to every single pixel. It's not unfair in the sense that the game cheats, it's just holding you to a standard of perfection that most games don't dare to ask for.
It demands respect.
It does. And when you finally beat a level, the rush is real because you know you earned it. You didn't button mash your way through. You performed a delicate ballet of survival.
Ballet where the dancer violently explodes if he jumps too high.
A very high-stakes ballet.
Despite all the yelling, despite the broken controllers and the trauma of the 14.4, I think I agree. It's memorable. I can't remember half the games I played last year, but I remember every single inch of that first elevator from when we were kids.
That's the power of Spelunker. It brands itself onto your brain. It taught an entire generation of gamers patience, precision, and the cruel, unforgiving reality of gravity.
And to fear about poop.
And to fear about poop, extremely vital life lessons.
Well, looking at the oxygen gauge, I think we should carefully climb back up the rope before the ghost shows up and ruins our day.
What idea? Let's move slowly. Watch your step.
I'm going to walk home very carefully today. I'm not stepping off any curbs. I'm using the ramp.
Just don't jump. Whatever you do, do not jump.
Deal.
All right.
Will the game be fun tomorrow, too? Happy gaming.